If you're a big fan of gender-neutral bathrooms, you might just love this LC250 here, this Land Cruiser Prado. Save $52,545, bringing the price tag down to now $90,000, $89,995. For 0% over 60 months or 2.9% over 72 months, we're now looking at $103,000 for this particular example. As soon as you drive one of these Chevy Silverado 1500s off the lot, get ready to take a 25 to 30% loss on that resale value. That saying of you will own nothing and be happy is starting to feel more and more true as time comes on, right? Every single one of these vehicles here is on a line of credit, like a credit card. This lineup right here epitomizes the problem that we're facing within the entire auto industry. Now, if you take anything from this video, I want it to be this. Wholesale values for used vehicles has gone down tremendously, almost overnight. 2026 Chevy Suburban High Country, look at that, $107,000. Hey YouTube, Untamed here. Between the current wholesale and auction numbers for used vehicles in your trade-ins, record high levels of auto loan delinquencies, and consequently, vehicle repo rates within a country, combined with the fact that we are seeing an unprecedented growth rate of vehicle inventory, new vehicle inventory, dealers are going to find themselves in a very sticky situation here very soon. In today's video, I'm going to talk through the many reasons as to why I firmly believe that end-of-year deals here in 2025 are going to be like no other year. So stick with me as we talk through it. Now, for you and I, it's easy to understand. The price tags of vehicles have gotten completely out of touch with reality, and that's the best way to put it, right? When you combine these monthly payments with the rising cost of insurance, the cost of living, your cost of your mortgage, your rent, the cost of groceries, everything has just shot to the moon. Most Americans, they are living paycheck to paycheck. No kidding, paycheck to paycheck. They can't squeeze in an additional $1,200 here and there for a monthly payment, then you get slapped with your $400 a month insurance premium on it. People are suffocating, and that's abundantly clear when you go to any dealership right now. They're stacked up with inventory, they don't even know what to do with it. And let's face it, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler dealerships have done a terrible job at sustaining sales and really leaning into the green throughout recent years. They, among all dealerships, really need to get extra creative. Thankfully, at least for the Ram in particular, Ram brought back the Hemi V8, the 5.7 liter Hemi V8s. The V8 options are now back in the Ram, and that has proven to be a very wise move. Looking at the Ram truck sales, they have done a very sharp increase just within the last 3 months here. So hopefully that can continue, but they're gonna have to slap it with pretty incentivized interest rates, kind of like what you see here, 0% over 60 months or 2.9% over 72 months, in addition to substantial discounts. I'm talking 20 to 30% off as a good starting point. What do you think? Full-size heavy-duty pickup truck segment continues to flounder. Ford has done a decent job at moving their F-250s, 350s, 450s. Their Super Duty trucks have done okay, especially with the high-output 6.7 liter Power Stroke. When you look at Ram, when you look at General Motors, Chevy, they're struggling a bit more to move this metal. And it's largely thanks to the price tag. As I look at each of these full-size Ram heavy-duty trucks behind me, many of them teetering toward 100 grand. 6 figures. The fact that we've normalized 6 figures for a truck in America has become quite sickening. When it comes to the Jeep Gladiator and the Jeep Wrangler, quality control just isn't what it used to be, right? And you find that very quickly. Upon buying this vehicle, overpaying for the vehicle, you drive it for a couple of years and you quickly realize how many things begin to fall apart. The quality just is not there. And well, if you're gonna spend that kind of coin, you better dang well expect it to be. It's a shame because the Jeep Wrangler is an American icon, and I want this to succeed. It's built in America by proud Americans who love this platform. But unfortunately, under Stellantis, that quality has just gone out the window. And while they price hiked it 54% since 2019, between the Gladiator and the Wrangler, pretty wild how expensive they've gotten. One at random, this is a 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Rubicon 4x4, and well, look at that, $71,760. That's become the new norm for many Jeep Wranglers and Gladiators. Heaven forbid you want a Jeep Wrangler 392, get ready to fork over 6 figures. Alarming to see just how many unsold 2024 and 2025 Ram trucks are sitting on dealership lots right now. Hopefully with the shift to the Hemi V8, they will continue to see that spike in sales. Here I wanted to show you this one in particular. It's a 2026. So we got 26s now hitting, as we have a ton of carryover units, but I wanted to show you the color mainly. It's called Canyon Lake. Canyon Lake, this one just under $68,000. This is the new color for the Ram truck this year. What do you think? Brings me to today's video sponsor, and that is Last Fit Floor Liners. If you're like me and you care for your vehicles greatly and you want to keep them nice, keep them clean, floor liners from Last Fit are a good option. They're a great option. 3D laser fitted to your specific vehicle, you can ensure that you're getting maximum coverage throughout your entire vehicle. Better than OEM floor mats, offering better coverage. Not to mention, it is made out of a premium TPE material that will withstand the test of time and really withstand the abuse that your family, in my case, my 5 little ones, are going to throw at it on a daily basis. Ironically enough, my Cadillac here did not come with any floor liners out back. They had just the soft standard floor liners up front for the driver and passenger, but beyond that, second row back, it didn't come with anything. So that needed to be addressed quickly. And I'm so grateful that I was able to get these Last Fit floor liners in here to provide that necessary protection in order to start transporting our family around with a level of peace of mind. When it comes to cleaning, super easy. Spray it with water or any kind of cleaning material that you use and just wipe it away. The coverage is exceptional, better than any other OEM or all-weather floor mats that I've ever used, so I really appreciate that. The shipping, always very quick, very rapid, and the customer service at Last Fit, second to none. Don't take it from me, give them a call and see for yourself. Hopefully, you'll like this product just as much as I do. Keeping your vehicle clean is dang near impossible with little ones, right? You're gonna get crumbs back there, there's gonna be goldfish, there's gonna be spills, but at least with having these Last Fit floor liners, you're gonna have much better peace of mind, I assure you. They are going to stand the test of time. They're not going to yellow or fade over time. Their material is not as soft as rubber, but not as hard and rigid as a polyurethane material too. So they're easy to get in and out of your vehicle, easy to pull out if you need to pull them out and clean them for whatever reason. They are great. So consider using my affiliate link in my video description below. Guys, I truly believe that this lineup right here epitomizes the problem that we're facing within the entire auto industry. These are General Motors products. Chevy Suburbans here. Chevy Suburbans, the Chevy Tahoe on the end. The price tags of these are unreal, truly unreal. Look at this one right here. Get ready for your jaw to drop, ladies and gentlemen. 2026 Chevy Suburban High Country. Look at that, $107,000. $107,000 for a Chevy. Like say that out loud. 107 grand for a Chevy. And well, these other examples, a Premier, RST, they're not far off. Another High Country here, over 6 figures here again. Absolutely sickening. And well, let's just go one step further here. We have some Silverado 3500s down here. Another High Country right next to it. I wonder why. Look, they're all High Countries. There's a big profit margin to be had if a dealership sells a High Country comparatively to like an LT, right? A base model trim example, much higher profit margin, both for the dealership and the vehicle manufacturer alike. Let me show you how much these are running for right now. Let me find one with the window sticker. No window sticker in that one. We got the red tag sale called the Whoop-de-Doo Hotline. Get ready for $1,000 off. But check this out. This one here, hopefully you can see it, just under $92,000. For a Silverado 3500 High Country. This one's a dually. But after taxes, all the fees, all the bogus fees are gonna push on you easily over 6 figures, even for this, a work truck. Go to any Chevy dealership, there will be no shortage of Chevy Equinoxes, Chevy Traverses, Blazers, Trailblazers. There's an abundance of them. People are not wildly excited about these, especially even at their price points. They don't make sense either, right? This is a Traverse. You would expect this to be a lot less than $52,000. This one happens to be a Z71 package, but still, I'd say maybe 35 grand tops there. Much like all vehicle manufacturers, when it comes to the mid-size pickup truck segment, they too are lessening the displacement size of their motors, turbocharging everything, and still hitting you with an astronomical price tag. Let me show you what a ZR2 Chevy Colorado will run you these days. Get a load of that. Hopefully you can see it. Look at that. Just under $59,000. 60 grand for a mid-sized truck. Can you even fathom that? Maybe 10 years ago? 10 years ago, you're looking at spending $30,000 to $35,000 for most mid-sized trucks, and nicely spec'd examples of them too. Not anymore. Add insult to injury, as soon as you drive one of these Chevy Silverado 1500s off the lot, get ready to take a 25 to 30% loss on that resale value. The depreciation on these vehicles today is just sickening. Most people, they can't stomach losing that kind of money so quickly on their vehicle purchase at these price points. Nissan is a prime example of getting away from their risk-adverse philosophy that they used to have in the past, where they used to create these amazing vehicles like the Silvia, the GTRs of the world, these pretty awesome vehicles, right, that people would get excited about, but not anymore. Nowadays, they just produce these very safe, boring vehicles that aren't really made up to snuff. Many of these examples here come with a CVT that will likely blow up on you at any given moment, and people have caught on to that. For the money, you know, they're not that expensive, but for any amount of money for a vehicle that could potentially grenade on you, it's not worth it, right? And that is why this brand right here may just go belly up soon. To be frank with you guys, we're finding ourselves in a perfect storm of so many dealerships being over flooded with new vehicle inventory, unsold carryover units from previous years, and wholesale values for used vehicles has gone down tremendously, almost overnight. We're talking, you know, since the beginning of January, we did see about a 10 to 15% uptick in wholesale values. That's the value of your trade-in. The value that your trade-in would be based on when they're offering you a trade-in value for it. But that is taking a sharp downward turn right now because dealers need to move their new inventory. They don't want your used inventory. That doesn't help them out. They don't even have space for the new ones. They can't give you so much money. And when you combine that with the fact that so many Americans overpaid throughout the last 3 to 5 years, especially throughout the pandemic, people are upside down on their loans still. We're talking on average $7,700 being the national average negative equity, meaning people owe $7,700 more than what their vehicle is currently worth. That's a recipe for disaster if they're trading in for an overpriced new vehicle. I talk about it plenty on the channel, but the Nissan Frontier, especially the Pro 4X, I firmly believe is the last of its kind. Right here is the price tag, $46,870. Not cheap by any means, I understand, but it does have a naturally aspirated V6 underneath the hood still. All other vehicle manufacturers have done away with that. They've gotten rid of their naturally aspirated, more bulletproof, more reliable platforms that most people know how to work on by comparison to a turbocharged four-banger, let's face it, or a hybridized four-banger that we're seeing out of Toyota. So I appreciate the simplicity here. It's still under $50,000 and you can easily get $7,000 to $9,000 off. Bring it up down to the high 30s. That's doable. Even Honda and Mazda dealerships are offering pretty substantial discounts, and that's pretty unique for them. They normally do a very good job at adjusting their production levels to match projected demand. So they're always pretty well on top of that, and they always have been. But right now, even go to any Honda dealership, you'll see just this, lines upon lines of unsold 2025 inventory sitting as the new 26s begin to hit. Personally, I applaud Honda in particular for not forcing and cramming this hybrid technology down our throats and electric vehicles down our throats. A lot of their platforms, they purposely leave a naturally aspirated engine underneath the hood because Honda, they know reliability better than anybody. Let's face it, reliability and Honda are generally synonymous with each other. And we see that with like the Honda Ridgeline, right? The Honda Ridgeline, the new Honda Passport over there, they still have a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 because they understand when you overcomplicate it and overcook that engine with a bunch of technology, turbocharging everything, well, you lose a reliability factor. They don't want to do that. Let me remind you of how much a Honda Ridgeline will run you these days. Just under $46,000. You tell me, you paying that money for it? Confession time. I love this color, guys. It's called Boost Blue. It's very reminiscent of Voodoo Blue that we found from Toyota. Like on the TRD Pro 4Runner, Tundra, you name it. It kind of resembles that. And for that reason, I geek out over it. Now, in my personal opinion, the government bailout that we issued to General Motors back in the day was perhaps one of the worst decisions we as a country have made in a very long time. This right here gave General Motors a sense of, I don't know, invincibility to some degree, for lack of better terms, right? I mean, they like to only push vehicle manufacturer discounts on their vehicles. What I'm talking is, what does General Motors want to offer? Do they want to offer a 2.9% incentivized interest rate over 60 months? Are they pushing that? Are they pushing that with a maybe 10% off discount? They only lean on what General Motors is doing. And because of that, a lot of GMC and Chevy dealers and Cadillac dealers, they refuse to tack on dealer discounts on top of that. And they hold firm to what the vehicle manufacturer is doing. And that really has proven to be, something to their detriment in recent years. That really has allowed a lot of dealerships just to become very greedy. They hold firm to those, they don't offer any discounts, and they act as though their hands are tied, which is pretty pathetic if you ask me. Can you really blame them? At the end of the day, they know that their government will not let them fail. Personally, I think next go around, they'll let them struggle a lot harder. So you get deals like this being pushed from General Motors. This isn't the dealership pushing this right now. We have an $11,000 off with qualified trade-in is what they're forcing you to do. And that means that they're gonna totally undercut you on your trade-in value, probably by, $5,000, $10,000. They brought it down to $46,000. They say, or a 0% interest rate over 36 months. That's insufficient. You need to expect both of those and not require you to trade in a vehicle, because that trade-in, like I said, they're gonna totally milk you on that and take advantage of you. They're gonna make up their money elsewhere, I assure you. Personally, I do really like this new dune color being offered by General Motors. Let me show it to you here on this AT4. I believe this one here is a 2500 sporting the Duramax diesel. Let me show you here in the light side of this example here, another AT4. I think that looks good. Kind of like a muted tan, like a flat tan. I don't think there's any kind of metallic flake to it. You tell me what you think. Let's look at the price tag though. That's the most important bit. $93,519 for this GMC Sierra 3500 AT4. Again, easily 6 figures after tax. Pretty wild. Guys, get a load of this, this discount. This is pretty crazy. We got a Black Friday sale. Hopefully you can see it, guys. It says save $52,545, bringing the price tag down to now $90,000, $89,995. So technically, at least what they're claiming there, is a over $52,000 discount on this Hummer EV. That blows my mind. This 9,000 pound plus monstrosity here is a huge part of the reason why a lot of the other vehicles in General Motors lineup are getting price hikes year over year, because the EV segment for General Motors has lost tremendously. I'm talking billions and billions of dollars being lost by General Motors. They have a hard time admitting to it though, whereas Ford, they openly admitted, say, hey, within the last 2.5 years, we lost $4.2 billion on our EV segment. And because of that, we need to make up for it elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. General Motors, they have a hard time admitting it. But look at that, 52 grand off. If the EV segment was thriving, why would they be also offering a $20,000 off discount on this Cadillac Escalade IQ? This IQ over here, the full size, of course, Escalade equivalent of electric vehicle, 20 grand off. That only brings it down to maybe $145,000. Still not worth it. Vehicles like this GMC Sierra EV, Denali trimmed example, are for people who have more money than brains. Let's just call it how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out. I hope you can see that. $104,465 freaking dollars for an EV pickup. Who in their right mind is coming out and forking over that kind of coin for this kind of truck? It makes 0 sense. There's zero utility in this truck. I find it kind of interesting. The same people who beat their chest claiming they're saving the environment on a vehicle like that, isn't that a tremendous amount of waste? A waste of money, a waste of everything, waste of resources for that particular truck, not to mention the mining and extraction needed to actually put together the battery packs for those vehicles. Yikes. Guys, we've gotten to the point where even a South Korean vehicle manufacturer like Hyundai and Kia will easily run you over $50,000. So many of these vehicles here are between, no kidding, $50,000 and $60,000. A few of them teeter over 60 grand. Which is sickening to say out loud, right? These vehicles were originally intended to be, for lack of better terms, kind of throwaway vehicles. You buy them for very, very cheap. We're talking $10,000 to $15,000. Do you remember that? It wasn't all that long ago. I'm not talking the 90s, ladies and gentlemen. These vehicles used to be extremely affordable, and people bought them knowing that, well, they likely won't last all that long. They're not like a Toyota Camry. They're not like a Toyota 4Runner. They're not going to last forever, but at least they're very affordable, and I'll have a level of peace of mind having a new vehicle at the end of the day. Not anymore. Like these Palisades, let me just show you one right here. I think these are XRTs. Let's see. Well, there you have it. $52,015 for this XRT Pro 2026 Hyundai Palisade. You tell me, you're gonna buy a Hyundai with that kind of coin? Please don't get me wrong, I appreciate Hyundai and I appreciate Kia, like the Kia Telluride, I really like that. However, I do feel like they've gotten too big for their britches for what you get. Obviously, they made big strides in their development, their design cues, they look good, but at the end of the day, I would never trust one more than a Honda or a Toyota. I would still comfortably say that, but they price themselves on par. So I think they got too big for their britches is all. So guys, I want to show you this because I've never seen it before sitting on a dealership lot. This appears to be a first responder vehicle, a police intercept vehicle. You know, got the police intercept wheels, you got the ditch light there, the spotlight. Kind of interesting. It's a Ford F-150 XL police responder. Weird, but it seemingly is for sale to the public. It's just sitting here. So interesting. Have you guys seen that before? And can we buy that? I actually don't know. You tell me. And for whatever it's worth, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. We all know that guy who likes to pretend to look like a cop. Don't be that guy. We've gotten to the point where so many dealerships are struggling month to month because over the last couple of years, inventory levels continue to grow year over year, substantially. Unprecedented growth rate levels we're talking. Right now, they have an abundance of inventory. They're no longer giving good value for your trade-in, and well, that's a recipe for disaster. You have no inclination or incentive to come in and trade in your vehicle that you probably overpaid for throughout the pandemic, especially if it means coming out and buying a $90,000 plus Ford Expedition here, right? Or a $50,000 plus Ford Ranger, or a $65,000 plus F-150. People have had it up to here when it comes to these price tags and these monthly payments. They can't keep up and they can no longer justify trading in every 3 to 5 years. And don't even get me started on the Ford Maverick here. This was intended to be the $25,000 pickup truck. The $25,000 truck that anybody can come out and buy, according to Ford. According to Ford's CEO. Not anymore. Let me just show you what the normal price tag is on an example. Squeeze through here. That doesn't look like $25,000, does it? 41 grand for this Ford Maverick Lariat trimmed example. No thank you. Now, if you take anything from this video, I want it to be this. This right here paints a very clear picture as to where we're at, truly. Ford has been the top dog when it comes to #1 pickup truck sales within the United States for 48 consecutive years. This right here is going to be year 49. Next year, of course, is the coveted 50-year mark. They're going to do whatever it takes to sell enough F-150s to keep that top dog spot. They're not going to let the Silverado catch them, or the Sierra, of course. They're going to be top dog. And right now, guess what? They're offering 0% interest rates on F-150s. Obviously, with qualifying credit, you get a 0% interest rate. That is kind of a first time in a very long time that they've even considered doing that. And they're doing it kind of on a widespread note at this point. Even with challenge credit. A lot of people with challenge credit can get an F-150 at a 3.9% interest rate. That's pretty unheard of too. So it just shows just how desperate Ford is to move this metal. It's almost as if Ford themselves know that they've overpriced this vehicle tremendously. It is not worth these price tags. Now look at this, $76,000, $76,335 for this 2025 F-150 Lariat. Why have we gotten to that point? It's insane to me. That right there, that used to get you a fully loaded F-250 Super Duty diesel before. Fully loaded, fully spec King Ranch. Not anymore. Well, just for funsies, because we have a couple of options here. Here we have an F-350 King Ranch, sporting the high output 6.7 liter Power Stroke. And well, instead of $70,000 price range, we're now looking at $103,000 for this particular example. Pretty wild. And well, as fate would have it, we have another one right here with the Tremor package too. Let's see if we've beat that price. Not quite. We're at $102,710 for this F-250 King Ranch. So F-250 between the F-350, what is that, $1,000 difference? And I gotta admit, I don't like repeating it because I don't want it to be true, but you really can't help but feel as though that saying of you will own nothing and be happy is starting to feel more and more true as time comes on, right? A lot of Americans, they're not gonna be able to come out and buy a new vehicle. You know, the price tags, even for like the middle class, upper middle class, these price tags, they're too much. And that's pretty sad when you price out the middle class, right? The middle class, they're the ones coming out and buying a Ford. They're the ones going out and buying a GM product, but not at these price tags. And you guys know how I feel about Toyota. I won't beat it to death in today's video. You know, Toyota really epitomizes the shift away from reliability, simplicity, and affordability to these lower engine displacement, turbocharging everything, hybridizing everything, making everything far too overcooked, too much technology, and while hiking up the price tags far too much. They epitomize that. Remember during the pandemic, Toyota dealerships, unfortunately, being a true Toyota enthusiast, I can tell you honestly, Toyota dealers were among the very worst when it came to deploying markups, greedy dealership markups. So between all the changes that they made with the Tundra, the Tacoma, the Sequoia 4Runner, Land Cruiser, you name it, they neutered and castrated all these nameplates that were very, very iconic once upon a time. Now, between that and them charging markups in recent years, people have a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to dealing with Toyota. their dealerships helped ruin their brand reputation. And well, their vehicles blowing up like the Tundra is only adding insult to injury here. I remember on most trimmed examples of the Toyota RAV4, every dealership seemingly was trying to get a markup of some sort, at least $5,000 over MSRP, over a sticker. There were some dealerships that were getting very, very greedy though. We're talking $15,000 over sticker. And there was one case, at very least one case, where a dealership successfully sold a RAV4 Prime for a $50,000 markup, 50. Imagine spending $100,000 for a RAV4. Somebody did in California. It's such a disappointment to see the current state of the Sequoia, the Tundra in particular, the Tacoma being built entirely out of Mexico now, forcing you to have a four-banger. But even that is less disappointing than the Tundra here. The Tundra, I mean, used to be known for its toughness, of course, its reliability and affordability, right? You can go buy a Tundra easily between $40,000 and $55,000 for the top trim TRD Pro. Nowadays, many of these examples that you see just right here, and obviously the whole lineup down there, many of them $75,000 plus. $75,000, and well, they force you to have a twin turbo V6, a hybridized V6 with the iForce Max. Overcooked, overdone, no thanks. Now, personally, I do believe that there is some hope for the 6th generation 4Runner, still built out of Japan. I imagine it has great fit and finish, just like my 5th generation 4Runner. The price tags, they shot up a little bit, let's face it. The TRD Pro Trail Hunter will run you dang near $70,000 plus at this point, which is absolutely sickening to say out loud, right? But there's still hope for it. Imagine if Toyota did reintroduce a naturally aspirated V6 into this platform. Imagine they didn't force you to have the 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder or the hybridized 4-cylinder with the iForce Max. Imagine if you didn't have to have that. Would you buy it? I don't know. I think I would be tempted. You tell me, seriously. If you're a big fan of gender-neutral bathrooms, you might just love this LC250 here, this Land Cruiser Prado. Look at that, $72,724. And again, you get the tiny little 4-cylinder engine underneath the hood. You have that hybridized version with the iForce Max here as a requirement in the Land Cruiser in particular. You tell me, spend that kind of money for a 4-banger? Yikes. As I show you this huge lineup of vehicles at every single dealership lot, I want you to think of two things. One, flooring cost, and two, reallocation rates. If a dealership doesn't move this metal, they get stuck with a higher and higher flooring cost every single month. Every single one of these vehicles here is on a line of credit, like a credit card every single month, a very small amount, but a percentage of every vehicle that they have, they're getting hit with a fee. Not a lot, but when we're talking several hundred vehicles, that becomes a huge pain point for dealerships, right? So that begins to bleed them out over time. So flooring cost right there. They get to the point where they have far too many vehicles on their lot, they've overflooded their lot, and they can't receive anymore. They can't take your trade-in on things, and again, that's just a recipe for disaster for them. And if they start turning away deliveries and turning away their allocations for vehicles, that only hinders their reallocation rate. They'll likely won't receive higher offerings of vehicles. Instead of getting maybe 15 Toyota 4Runners like they did this quarter, they may only get 10 next quarter, or they might even get just 5 next quarter if they turn them away. So Toyota, vehicle manufacturers, they note that and they remember that quarter to quarter, and it affects the reallocation rate. So it behooves them to move this metal for a number of reasons. Flooring costs and, of course, getting a better reallocation rate moving forward. If they don't, well, they'll sit stagnant and eventually go belly up. Unlike years past, they no longer have the wholesale or auction safety blanket. Meaning, if they couldn't sell a vehicle for several months on end, they could always throw it to auction, wholesale the vehicle off, even new inventory if push came to shove. That would hurt the reallocation rate to some degree, but at least they would move the metal. So now, they don't have that luxury. Wholesale values are down tremendously right now. I mean, they're going to continue to go down. They're going to continue to slump on our used vehicles predominantly, right? But because of that, they're going to have one option, and that is to slash the prices. We're talking 20, 30, 40% off, and offering incentivized interest rates if they want to move this metal from the lots. Otherwise, well, belly up they go. As I'll wrap up the video there, as always, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to tune into these videos. If you find any value in it whatsoever, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means a ton, and I promise you, it doesn't go unnoticed. Let me know what you're seeing at your local dealerships. Honestly, are they moving metal? Are they clearing their inventory? Or are they looking like this? Do they have lines upon lines of unsold metal just sitting there? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Till next time.